Hi there! Welcome to What is Islam Academy. Let's learn about Islam together.
Imagine walking into a grand cathedral, your eyes drawn up to vaulted ceilings, sunlight painting stories across the stone statues of Mary and apostles, and the crucifix at the center. Every image is a focal point for prayer designed to inspire awe and devotion. Now, step into a mosque. The contrast is immediate: open space, intricate patterns and calligraphy, but no statues or images. There's no central icon, just the Qibla pointing to Mecca. The emptiness is intentional, creating a serene focus where nothing stands between worshiper and creator. This difference raises a question: why is one space filled with images, the other so deliberately empty? Is the absence of imagery a lack of reverence for prophets like Jesus and Mary? In fact, it's the opposite, a commitment to the first commandment. The mosque's visual silence is a space cleared for pure, unmediated worship of the unseen God. Any image or symbol is seen as a potential distraction from the ultimate reality of God. This is a different path of devotion, connection through the unseen, not the seen. When Christians see no cross in a mosque, it can feel like a rejection of Jesus. But is true reverence about creating images or about following the teachings of the prophets? Islam's position is rooted in love for God and obedience to his commands, not a lack of love for Jesus. The absence of images is a testament to honoring the prophet's core message: worship the one true God, without intermediaries. The empty space in the mosque is not disrespect, but ultimate respect for the God Jesus called his followers to worship. The prohibition of images in worship isn't unique to Islam, it's foundational in the Abrahamic faiths. The 10 Commandments in Exodus are clear: you shall not make for yourself an image. You shall not bow down to them or worship them. This isn't a suggestion, it's a direct command to avoid limiting God with images. The Quran echoes this, warning against idol worship and emphasizing God's oneness. Both Judaism and Islam strictly prohibit images in worship. The command to Moses is the same principle upheld by Muhammad, so who is truly adhering to this original commandment? When Muslims avoid images in mosques, they see themselves as preserving the oldest rule given by God. It's not a new rule, but a return to the original covenant. History shows how easily symbols become idols. The Israelites, after receiving the commandment against images, made a golden calf, not to abandon God, but as a symbol. Quickly, the symbol replaced the reality. The creation was worshipped instead of the creator. This golden calf principle is a recurring human pattern. Pagan traditions often rebranded their idols as saints, continuing the practice of statue veneration. Even today, statues of saints are treated with reverence that blurs the line with worship. Theologians may argue the intent, but for many, the statue becomes the focus. Islam's prohibition is a preventative measure against this human tendency. It's not about rejecting art, but about protecting the direct connection to God. The line between symbol and idol is thinner than we think. For Christians, the cross is the ultimate symbol of faith and love. But did Jesus or his disciples ever command its use as an object of veneration? In the Gospels, Jesus speaks metaphorically about taking up the cross, but never instructs followers to create or worship it. The cross as a symbol emerged centuries later, after Constantine. Muslims don't reject the cross out of disrespect, but out of adherence to prophetic teachings. Since neither Jesus nor Muhammad commanded its use, Muslims avoid it to preserve pure worship. Their focus is on worshiping God directly, as Jesus himself did. The Prophet Muhammad's stance on images was clear: restore pure monotheism and cleanse worship of innovations. When he entered Mecca, the Kaaba was filled with idols, even icons of Jesus and Mary. He removed them all, declaring, "Truth has come, and falsehood has vanished." This act restored the Kaaba to its original purpose: worship of the unseen God alone. The Prophet forbade images and statues in worship, warning against their dangers. The rationale: to close every door to associating partners with God. What begins as remembrance can become veneration, then worship. The rule is clear: no religious symbols or images in worship spaces. Islam's prohibition of images is rooted in understanding how devotion can shift from remembrance to worship. It starts innocently: a portrait to remember a prophet. Over generations, respect for the image grows. It becomes a focal point for prayer. Eventually, the object itself is venerated, then worshipped. The Quran warns of this, telling how the people of Noah made statues of righteous men, which later generations worshipped. By forbidding images from the start, Islam cuts off this path. It's a radical measure to protect the pure relationship between human and creator. The goal: keep worship direct, unmediated, and free from man-made objects. Muslims deeply honor Jesus and Mary. Jesus is mentioned more in the Quran than Muhammad, and Mary has a chapter named after her. Muslims believe in Jesus' miracles and his role as Messiah, but express love through obedience to God's law. The greatest way to honor a prophet is to uphold their core message: worship the one true God. Jesus never asked to be worshipped, he taught worship of God alone. By refusing to make Jesus or Mary into objects of veneration, Muslims believe they're upholding Jesus' mission. The rejection of crosses and statues is not disrespect, but supreme respect for the God Jesus worshipped. It's a conscious choice to avoid associating partners with God. Muslims say, "I love Jesus enough to obey the God he served, not to create symbols he never commanded." In the mosque, the absence of images isn't emptiness, it's focus. Nothing distracts the worshiper, there's only space for remembrance of the unseen creator. Calligraphy and geometric patterns evoke God's infinite nature, not objects to venerate. The mosque's design embodies Tawheed, God's oneness. Did any prophet ever command the use of images in worship? The evidence says no. Islam's stance is a restoration of pure monotheism, not an innovation. Rejecting images is an act of love and sincerity toward God. The house of God and the heart of the worshiper are kept pure, reserved for him alone.